Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Excellence IAS. Let us do the editorial analysis for today, that is 19th November 2022. The first article is about the Data Protection Bill. It is put in for public comments today. Let us try to understand the important provisions over here. The bill applies to the personal data collected by various websites from the online users. Data collected offline, which later will be entered into digital sources, will also be covered by this bill. What this bill do not cover? These include the data which is been processed by an individual for domestic or personal use. And in this context, any data which is existing greater than 100 years also do not fall in the purview of the data protection bill. In this case, if any company breaches the provisions of this bill, the penalties can go as high as 500 crore rupees. If any individual submits wrong information to the government, especially with regard to KYC, the penalties can reach to 10,000 rupees. And previously, when draft bill was introduced, industry opposed the data localization norms. In these circumstances, the cross-border data flows and the rules related to cross-border data flows are being eased. And various roles are being created. One is consent managers. It is an automatic platform. Let us take, if I give a consent to a particular website, then myself is called as data principal. The person who is receiving data and holding the data will be called data fiduciary. And between data principal and fiduciary, a consent is important. Data principal has to give consent to fiduciary. In this case, how many consents are being given? All these are being managed on a consent management or manager platform. So the interactions between the fiduciaries and the data principals and consents given to them are managed on this particular platform. Any kind of breach or any kind of damage to the private information and its protection, it will be dealt by Data Protection Board of India. So these are the basic elements. Anyhow, we are going to deal with this bill in detail. It is very critical for our understanding of the data world in India. Next, you know that No Money for Terror conference is going in New Delhi. In this case, Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah has addressed this conference. So what are the points which we can use in our examination? In the context of this conference, let us try to understand. Terror financing is dangerous than the terror. This is the word which has been given by Home Minister Amit Shah. Because the means and methods of the terrorism, they are developed through terror financing. That is one critical point. And second aspect is, Prime Minister Modi has emphasized on uniform, unified, zero tolerance approach towards the terrorism can only defeat terrorism. If you are making exceptions in the name of national fight or nationalism, freedom fights, etc., as many exceptions grow, to that extent there will be reasons for the terrorism to survive. So that's why uniform, unified, zero tolerance approach alone can defeat the terrorism. When we come to the architecture to fight the terrorism in India, we have Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, an investigative mechanism like NIA is created, and also Prevention of Money Laundering Act is very strict on various kinds of terror financing. But however, terror financing theater is changing. So certain names are used. The terror financing is changed from illegal trade of narcotics, dynamite to metaverse, AK-47 to virtual assets, and then dark web. These are the emerging areas of the terror financing. These are the points which are being covered in Prime Minister and Home Minister speeches, which you can use to enrich your answer. The governor is under the constitution, not above it. So you know that Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Kerala, Gujarat, the governor's role has become controversial. Leave Gujarat, it has become very much controversial in these three southern states. In this context, how our constitutional forefathers have envisioned office of the governor, we have to understand. The governor's office is not meant to be a parallel government. When discussion on governor's office, shall it be an elected office or a nominated office? More or less all the members of the Constituent Assembly favored a nominated office. The reason is the real authority has to lie with the Chief Minister and the Council of Ministers. Governor shall just be a constitutional authority, constitutional head. Its job is to give reason to his government rather than interfering with the government. A friendly intervention to reason the government is necessary, but not unnecessary interference with the government. That is what is the statement which has been made. And second, the governor shall be free from the bias or free from the passions and jealousies of the local politics. In this case, normally as a tradition, governor is appointed from outside the state so that he will not or she will not be connected with the local politics. And second, all wheels of the government shall run on the basis of reason. To ensure this reason, especially constitutional reasoning prevails, the governor has to intervene friendly but not interfere in the day-to-day administration of the government. So based on this, certain constitutional articles have come into existence. We need to study Article 153, 154 and 163. Article 153 states that there shall be governor for each state, and Article 154 states that the executive power of the state shall be vested in the governor. So 163 what it states is the governor shall act on the aid and advice of his council of ministers headed by the chief minister or otherwise. But this otherwise does not mean in every circumstance he can question the chief minister and council of ministers. So Article 163 recognizes the discretionary power of the governor. What it has said? The governor may act on the aid and advice of the council of ministers or otherwise. But this otherwise is subjected to constitutional limitations. So see clearly the statement that follows. So except as far as he is by or under this constitution. It means the discretion power exercised by the governor shall be under this constitution, allowed under this constitution. So beyond the scope of the constitution, governor shall not act his discretion. When we go to Shamsher Singh versus State of Punjab case, the governor under Article 163 can make his discretionary decision relation to Article 356, not beyond that. And governor's office shall work in accordance with the rules of business which are being made under Article 166 of the Constitution. So that's where the Constitution has clearly stated that governor is constitutional head to guide the government based on reason, not to bring in unnecessary interference. The next article, Malady and remedy. In this case, collegium system, let us understand. Previously, Article 124, the President of India can appoint the CJI. Other judges are recommended by the CJI or on his advice, President of India can appoint them. But collegium system has changed these dynamics. How it has changed? The executive role has come almost to nil or minimal. So executive wants to have its say in the appointment of judges. For this, National Judicial Appointments Commission Act was passed by the Parliament. This is also called as 99th Constitutional Amendment Act. It was struck down by 5 judges bench of the Supreme Court, which was headed by Justice Kehar, then the Chief Justice of India. Now, Kiran Rijiju, the Law Minister of India, has raised this question again. The existing collegium system to appoint the judges is considered as opaque, non-accountable, and judges appointing the brother judges is nowhere the practice in the world. These are the objections raised. Coming on to the government, when a collegium recommends a judge, government either delaying the things or leaving certain judges and approving the other names. Because of this, many of the lawyers who gave approval to become the judges of the Supreme Court, they are withdrawing their consent to be appointed as judges. So the government on its part, it is blocking the appointment of certain judges. So in this case, Either the government or judiciary, what they have to look for, legal merit and also independence of the judiciary. These two have to be protected. And then along with that, accountability need to be instilled in the judiciary. Any kind of new system which has to come into existence has to protect the legal merit and also has to ensure judicial accountability. And in this case, executive primacy is not a good idea. So what happened when we gave the executive primacy? Then packing of the court with S judges has happened. So this court packing is not good for the protection of the constitution. What is meant by court packing? Keeping my own men as the judges in the Supreme Court. And Supreme Court has to be the citadel to protect the constitution of India. If it is packed with government's judges or judges who support the government of the day, who will protect our rights against the states is the bigger question. So this is what is the articles today. Thank you very much.